For Emma Forever Ago is an album that will tear you down more than anything. Some songs have gentle lyrics that you can't quite make out, and other songs have lyrics that take the center stage, all the while being accompanied by a classical folk guitar. This slowly starts to build up one of the most relatable human feelings that everybody has felt at least once in their life. This is the overwhelming feeling of loneliness and a search for meaning. Each song has its own way of going about this, and it's through every strum and every falsetto, an image gracefully paints itself inside your mind. This album was a debut for a relatively unknown folk singer by the name of Justin Vernon, going by the stage name of Bon Iver. Originally released in 2007, it was later given a broader release in 2008. The story behind what led up to the creation of this album is very important. Stepping away from life can be difficult, and Justin himself talks about what led to him retreating home.
The record kind of started in my head. I was living in North Carolina, and I was really homesick, and I was also really sick. I had like a liver infection. And my band and I had broken up, and we've been playing music together for about 10 years, and that was very disarming, and sort of beginning to wonder if music is kind of going to be out of the question. I was splitting up in a relationship at the time, and I wasn't working because I was so sick, and so I just kind of retreated back home.
When Justin decided to head back home, all he had packed with him were some essentials, an old guitar and some recording equipment. The drive to do something with music was there, but any intentions of making something like an album was almost non-existent at the time. Justin traveled 18 hours across the country by himself. This long and lonely journey ended with him stopping at his parents' house to only find that they were away. It was at this point the emptiness was beyond immeasurable, and it was from there that he went on his way to the old hunting cabin his dad owned that he described as a little alpine-style timber frame cabin. This cabin that he stayed in, as Justin would put it, was anything but magical. It's sort of odd to look back and see it as magical, because it felt like a lonely few months at a cabin, where I plugged in a laptop and fucked around. After spending some time in the cabin, an old power book that Justin used for music crashed and erased dozens of unfinished songs. A lot of people in this soul-crushing situation might have given up on music forever, but Justin saw an opportunity to change himself. After burying it in the snow, an act that also held with its symbolism of burying himself, the writing style that he's become accustomed to would change dramatically. A quote from Narayana Murthy is one that's very applicable here for Justin. Growth is painful. Change is painful. But nothing is as painful as staying stuck somewhere you don't belong. Justin's life up until now was rough. His emotions have been building up for months. These are the emotions that were looked into for the creation of the album For Emma Forever Ago. Each and every song that makes up this album has its own reasoning for being created. This is where every listener gets their own experience. These songs aren't the greatest songs ever written, but the soundscape that forms each and every track allows people to put themselves in the mindset that Justin was in at the time. The way the album was made is actually quite interesting in and of itself. Instead of approaching each song with lyrics or a combination of music and lyrics, the sound itself was the main focus. This interesting way of approaching the album might have been what brought it to life. Out of the 9 songs present on the album, one of them stands above the others. This song is Creature Fear. Creature Fear shines in both the writing and its overall sound. The song starts off with the echoing choir of a single man. The somber guitar slowly fades its way in with a gentle melody. The lyrics that accompany reference being lost, someone questioning the world around them. The lyrics in the song, such as and are two particular examples of lyrics that stand out in the song. These lyrics leave an impression of somebody who doesn't belong, a person who is questioning their place in the world. When someone is lost and is longing to find where they belong, they question everything about themselves, and this is the constant fear, anxiety, and pressure of the creature fear. And the explosion of sound that comes out in the chorus is exactly what it feels like to let out your emotions and then draw them back in. Let's be real here. Everybody questions the choices that they make, and wondering if you made the right choice in any situation can eat away at any person. Creature fear encapsulates on this fear, and it makes it relatable. Some people see the song about losing someone dear to them. There have also been some interpretations of being used and tossed away, and I could go on. This is the true beauty behind this album. Another equally well-made track is Skinny Love, probably the most well-known track from this album. Presence of a kick drum accompanied by a more predominant guitar brings out the raw emotions present in this song. Unlike some of the other songs on this album, Justin has talked about the meaning behind creating this song. Some say he was more likely about his ex-girlfriend, but he denied it by saying, "Not entirely accurate. It's about that time in a relationship that I was going through. You're in a relationship because you need help, but that's not necessarily why you should be in a relationship. And that's Skinny." Both Skinny Love and Creature Fear are two heavy hitters on this album, but they're not alone in drawing out emotions. Each and every song allows everybody to have the freedom to relate to what they're hearing in their own personal way. The album itself is believed to be named after a girl, but there's no greater quote than the one Justin Vernon gave. "Emma isn't a person. Emma is a place that you get stuck in. Emma's a pain that you can't erase." This quote perfectly describes this album better than anything because it opens it up for everyone. Without a strict reference or meaning behind everything, only the emotions intended to be felt will be felt. Nobody is wrong in interpreting this album. Your feelings are the album. And being able to relate to the music allows you to relate to what it means to be sad and lonely. For Emma Forever Go is an album that should be listened to without the intention to focus on what's actually being said. It's an experience, and it's one that has touched a lot of people, including myself.